Today we want to talk about showing your home. I so much appreciate you trusting us with your listing, and I know one of the things that you're really looking forward to is having your home shown. One of the first steps in the whole showing process is to make sure you're actually ready. And so the video that we've shared with you, Dress Your Home for Success, is designed to really help you get your house ready. I want you to particularly pay attention to the showtime section of that, which is at the end of the video, because what it does is deals with all the little things that you can do to make your house show better. One of the things we want to make sure you do is turn on all the lights, open up your blinds, make sure that the dishes are clean in the sink, that the beds are made, that the house is as neat and clean as you can get it, and we want it to smell good. This is not the day to cook a fish dinner. If you're going to add to the atmosphere, bake cookies or bread. If you want to burn a candle or use a scentsy, vanilla or cinnamon tend to be good neutral scents. We try to stay away from heavy floral or other food smelling scents. When agents want to show your house, the buyers will have seen it on the internet or on the MLS. The agent will usually have a profile set up for them, and the buyers usually request to have your house included. When the agents set showings, they call our front desk, and we have an amazing front desk that's open 7 days a week. We use computerized showing instructions for them so that every one of our showing desk people have the exact same instructions for how your house is going to be shown. And your showing instructions will be set up to be one of 3 different ways. The first is what we call a go and show, and we use this mainly for vacant houses or if you're extremely flexible in terms of showings. And on a go and show, they'll just tell the agent to go and we'll notify you electronically. The second is what we call a courtesy call, and the courtesy call is used if you're still pretty flexible but you want to be notified in case for some reason you're actually home and a showing is about to take place, and so you want a more urgent notification. And the front desk will actually call you and let you know, but they've already told the agent they could come, and so we need you in those circumstances to just tell us if there's a problem. Otherwise the agent's going to go ahead and show per the instructions we've given them. The third is the most rigorous of the showing instructions we set up, and it's what we call a must confirm showing. We prefer not to do must confirm showings if we can avoid it, because a lot of times when people are busy they can't answer their phone, and as a result we don't end up getting the showing confirmed in time to have it, and so you can miss showings if you're on a must confirm status. The front desk literally has to talk to you or get a electronic confirmation from you before the agent's going to be allowed to show the house. So we try not to use that unless we absolutely have to, but it certainly comes into play for people who have large dogs, have other special circumstances where they absolutely need to okay each showing before it can take place. We're actually going to set you up on an application called Showing Desk, and what it allows us to do is actually notify you on your smartphone when you're going to have showings. It's also the way we can then share feedback with you. Feedback is very important. We ask all of our agents to provide feedback when they show your house. They don't always cooperate, but we try as hard as we can because it's really helpful to us. And what we're going to do is listen to that feedback. And what we're going to listen for are things that, A, you can do something about. And this is going to be things, if people come back and say, hey, the carpet's worn, the house really needs painting, it was messy, whatever, those kinds of feedbacks are very actionable, and we ask that you look at taking care of some of those things if they come back. But we're also listening for feedback that is what I call non-actionable or not directly actionable feedback. And this is feedback that's honestly code for a price problem. And the things that come into play with this type of feedback are going to be things like if the buyer says that the house is too small, well, you can't make your house bigger, and so the only way you can adjust for the size of your house is going to be price. If they say it's too noisy a location, if the backyard is too small, if there's inadequate privacy, these are all signs that the only way you can really adjust for these things is with price. Now, we've priced your home based on what we believe the market will bear for it, but what the feedback is telling us is what the market is actually saying. And so we want to listen very carefully to feedback when it comes in. When the agent actually comes to see your house, they will typically ask for a 2-hour window to see your house. And if you have a lot of showings, I'm going to suggest to you that you just find something fun to do and just go away for the day if you can help it. If you have multiple showings scheduled in a day, it can be helpful sometimes to leave a note for the agent saying, we have multiple showings today and we'd like you to leave the lights on for the next showing. Also, that's a great opportunity. It's not as convenient sometimes to do stuff like this if you only have one showing in a day, but to leave a plate of cookies and a couple bottles of water maybe, to just give people that kind of warm, fuzzy, welcoming feel when they come to your house. What's the old saying? If I knew you were coming, I would have baked you a cake. In this case, just make it cookies or something like that where they can snack on it. And of course, leave some napkins out so they can wipe their hands. There are also going to be situations where you have to be home because you've got business to take care of. Either you work from home or you've got things that you're working on to get ready for your move or whatever. And you have to kind of be there for a while and you can't leave for 2 hours at a time all day. My suggestion in those circumstances is to have the house all ready with all the lights on, all the windows open, ready to go, but then wait until the agent actually shows up before you leave. Greet them at the door, let them know you're just taking off for a little bit and you'll be back, and then go ahead and let them show the house. When you do that, you lose the minimal amount of time. A really strong showing could last for up to a half hour, but many times, if the house isn't going to be right for the buyer, they know that in the first 5 to 10 minutes. And so you don't necessarily have to leave for 2 hours. If you are not sure how long they're going to be there, sometimes just getting in the car or taking a short walk down to the end of the street and waiting for them to leave can be the easiest way to deal with it. If the weather is bad and you absolutely cannot leave the house, one option is to actually sit in your car while they show the house. I know that might sound a little strange, but it's much better, honestly, if you're just away from the action so that the buyers can really try on your house emotionally and talk freely with their agent and with each other about the showing experience. When we as agents show your property, we have rules that we try to follow, and one of them is that we stay with the buyer as much as we can. I say as much as we can because sometimes it's like herding cats. You just have to kind of deal with what you got to deal with. And one of the things you need to be aware of is that sometimes if they've got young kids and you have young kids, they may touch your kids' toys and they may take some out of the box. The parents don't always know that it's happened. They're not thinking in terms of straightening up your house when they leave. And it's just one of the perils of being on the market. The other thing that sometimes is a good idea, if you have prescription medication or other kind of desirable medications and stuff, make sure you leave these out of sight so that they're not tempting to anybody. And the same with any expensive jewelry, or don't leave cash out on the countertops or tables or whatnot. It's almost never a problem, but once in a great while it can come up, and we don't want to have your house be one where there is a problem. Also, restrooms, we are really not supposed to be using the restrooms in a house that we're showing. There are situations where it's a dire circumstance and somebody really needs to do that. And so I would just encourage you to be a little bit flexible and know that it could happen and not to let it bother you too much. Having adequate toilet paper and whatnot on hand is probably a good idea in your restrooms, just to make sure that if that happens, hopefully it won't, the facilities are available to them, and frankly a place to wipe their hands off as well. We also don't let people sit in your furniture typically. The only time that really can come into play is if your house is maybe the one, and we so hope that's going to happen. And if it does, sometimes they really want to sit and talk about their offer and how it's going to go. So if you come back and your furniture has been sat in, you should actually be really excited about that, because that might be a sign that that buyer is really interested in your house. A common question that I get from my sellers is, how many showings should we be expecting? And the answer is not the same for everybody. First of all, if we don't get showings in the first week you're on the market, this could be a sign that we've got a price problem and that somehow the market is not responding to what we're offering them. And so that's something we really want to pay attention to. But typically, the showings are more frequent with lower priced homes. And again, here in the winter of 2016, a house in the mid-2s can very often get 3 to 5 showings in a day, whereas A larger house in a higher price range might see 2 showings in a week or even 1 showing in a week, and that's not atypical. Our company keeps very close records of how many showings to expect at each price point, and so our expectations of showings will be based a little bit on what's coming through in terms of our averages for the company. And if we detect there's a problem where you're not getting your fair share of showings, we'll let you know that, and we'll work on kind of what we need to do to change that. My favorite showing process, if you will, for my sellers is that we get 1 showing and 1 offer. To me, that's the ideal sale, and we would love to have that happen for you. While it doesn't happen for everybody, we gear our marketing and the virtual tour that we've done on your home, the photography we've done on your home, the description and the dissemination of the marketing information to make that as realistic of a objective as possible. Wish us luck as we attempt to get you the ideal sale, 1 showing, 1 contract.